If you're thinking of signing up for Sharesight, you need to watch this review first. On the surface, it looks like the ultimate portfolio tracker that you need to maximize your investment returns and become a much more profitable investor. But after thoroughly testing it for weeks, I did find some really powerful features that can transform your investing, and a few potential downsides that you absolutely need to answer before you pay. But before we get into the warnings, let's be perfectly clear about one thing right now. Who is the Sharesight app actually built for? The truth is, Sharesight Portfolio Tracker isn't for the casual investor who just checks their stock price once a week. This platform has just one target user in mind, and that's the serious, self-directed investor who wants a true picture of their performance, with all the numbers, with all the details. I'm talking about the long-term DIY portfolio builder, the financial professional managing some client money, or anyone with investments spread across different accounts and asset types. If you just own a few stocks, this might be overkill, but if you have a mix of stocks and ETFs and maybe even some crypto or managed funds, and you're tired of trying to calculate your real returns in like a spreadsheet, this is where Sharesight really starts to make a lot of sense. They've built their entire service around giving you a hyper-accurate view of your portfolio. And we're not just talking price changes either. Sharesight automatically factors in dividends, capital gains, brokerage fees, and even the impact of currency fluctuations if you trade internationally. That is a level of detail that the casual investor doesn't need or use, but the serious investor can't live without it. But don't just take my word for it. When you look at Sharesight reviews from other investors, the story becomes even clearer. Take this one investor, for example. He said that Sharesight was everything he hoped for. He specifically highlighted how it seamlessly combined his two separate portfolios into one dashboard, giving him aggregate performance figures. He called the reporting helpful and said the tax reports for annual revenue and capital gains were very easy to access. He finished by saying that it was the best system that he'd ever come across. I also found this Sharesight review from another user who gets exactly who this is for. He said that the site helped him keep track of his investments and, crucially, to run reports to see if he's getting too concentrated in specific industries or individual stocks, even across his ETFs and funds. That is a powerful insight that you can't just get from a basic tracker. Another key edge that Sharesight Dividend Tracker has over competitors is its mature, trusted platform. So it automatically connects to over 200 global brokers, supports a huge range of asset types from stock to crypto, and it has a lot of other tools that show that it is a senior in the industry. It's really built for the investor who sees their portfolio tracker not just as a price checker, but as an essential part of their wealth management toolkit. Alright, so now that you know who the Sharesight app is really for, let's get into the specific features that make it so powerful. So right off the bat, the first thing that saves you hours of time and headache is their broker automation. So if you invest across multiple brokers, maybe one for US stocks and another for ASX shares, keeping it all straight is a nightmare. Sharesight automatically imports your trades from over 200 global brokers and integrates it naturally. So I connected my Interactive Brokers account, and my trades just started popping in. It's a game changer for accuracy and keeping track of everything. But what good is all of that data if you can't understand it? And that's where one of Sharesight's killer features comes in, the exposure report. This is pure genius for anyone who invests in ETFs. The exposure report acts like an X-ray for your portfolio. It shows you the actual underlying companies that you're invested in across all of your ETFs and funds, so you can balance it better. So I used this, and I spotted that two of my ETFs had massive overlap that I never knew about. And this is exactly what another user raved about in a Sharesight review that I saw, saying that he discovered that he owned two different ETFs with almost the same exact holdings, but one of them had just higher fees. So he just sold that one. Yeah, that's the kind of insight that literally saves you money. And for us ETF investors, this is becoming critical. The industry is huge right now, with over $200 billion in assets. Tracking them all properly and all the individual stocks and everything all at once, that's no longer optional. You need to know everything that you're invested in. And fortunately for us, Sharesight doesn't just track the price of your ETF, it helps you understand everything that's inside it. Unlike many basic trackers, it gives you the full picture. Now, one of the biggest reasons that serious investors choose Sharesight is the depth of its reporting. This is truly where it earns its fee. So they have a powerful risk reporting tool that shows you the maximum drawdown for each of your investments. That means that you can see not just how much money you made, but how much risk you took to get there. You can compare your returns against the drawdown, which is huge for making smarter rebalancing decisions. And for anyone with a self-managed super fund or investments in a trust, the historical cost report is a lifesaver at tax time. It easily compares the market value and historical cost of your investments over any time period. So preparing your annual accounts just became that much simpler. I even found a discussion on Reddit that highlights how people use this. Someone was asking if Sharesight could track their entire portfolio, including property, crypto, and assets, all held in different structure like trusts. The replies were very telling. One user chimed in saying that even the free version of Sharesight is fantastic at tax time, providing a summary of the capital gains and losses for your accounts. Another replied in agreement to other commenters, saying that Sharesight is one of the best apps that he uses year-round for his investing. He further highlighted that it's one of the few apps that is actually worth paying for. Now, for those of you who want like everything in one place, Sharesight's recent partnership with TaxTank is a pretty big deal. So this lets you pull data from your property investments directly into Sharesight. So now you can have a live automated view of your shares, your ETFs, and your property all in a single dashboard. That's a level of portfolio consolidation that's pretty hard to find elsewhere. And here's a question that I always ask about any financial platform. Is it safe? So when I looked into Sharesight's security, I was pretty reassured, I'll have to say. They support two-factor authentication, great to start, and all data is encrypted in transit and on their servers, and they use secure, enterprise-grade data centers, so everything that the top services and the top companies use, that's the security. So pretty safe. And a site like wallstreetzen.com has also highlighted their strong security practices, which adds to that trust. And you can look at reviews and a lot of comments and a lot of people talking about how much safety and security there is and all of the other features. But you know what? Sharesight is not perfect. There are a few things that you should be aware of before you sign up. In my deep dive into these Sharesight reviews, I did come across this one user who was pretty frustrated. He complained that the website could be difficult to navigate at times, found it tricky to edit some of his older holdings, and said that he felt like customer support wasn't as responsive as he'd like via email. And all of that can definitely be frustrating. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But in my own experience, the interface, it's a bit clunky, but it's very powerful. And that can mean that it has like a learning curve. It takes a bit of time to get used to it. It's not as instantly simple as some bare bones trackers. It took me a little while to find where everything was and, get used to everything. And while I don't have any major issues that required support, a slow response on a financial tool by email is never a good feeling. It does happen sometimes though, and people can be busy, and you might get a reply back within a few hours or within the hour, or you never know with lead times and with all this stuff that they go with. But is any of that a deal breaker? For me, no. For a platform this powerful, a short initial learning period is something I'm willing to accept, and some late customer service times, not great, but I hear that they improve, and I hear that they update their software, and I hear that all the tools are great, and I mean the core value and the accuracy of the tracking and the power of the reports, that's really what I care about, and it's really what most serious investors truly care about. And that's where Sharesight consistently delivers. The issues mentioned in those comments seem to be occasional growing pains rather than a flaw in the core product. And I did see, some complaints here and there. I just thought I'd mention this one. It is something that you need to know, but it didn't really affect me, and it's not something I personally care about. When it comes to cost, though, Sharesight's pricing is structured for the serious investor. They do have a free plan that is great for tracking this one portfolio with really basic features, and that's perfect for getting a feel for the platform, how it looks, how it acts without using all of the tools, and it's just great for, the free stuff with a single portfolio. Fine. But when you're ready to unlock all of the powerful reports and the multi-portfolio tracking and all of their extra tools and all of the extra deep data that they have, their paid plans are pretty competitively priced for the value that they provide, especially if you're using this for tax reporting or professional insight. For the most current Sharesight pricing and any active promotions going on, and a detailed breakdown of what's included in each plan, check the link in the description of this video. We try to keep it updated so that you can get the best possible deal. So, what is my final verdict in this Sharesight review? Well, if you're a serious investor with a diversified portfolio across multiple brokers or asset classes, and you're frustrated with spreadsheets and basic trackers that don't show your true performance, then Sharesight is absolutely worth it. If you want to check it out, make sure to click that link in the description of this video to get started and to take charge of your finances.